They flood the zone, but the whole thing is smoke and mirrors, you guys. The September polling is out, and Kanks's approval is so underwater. It's pathetic. Pop this up, Kylie. His overall approval rating is at 37%, and only 34 approve of Kanks's performance with the economy. You guys, now we're just down to the cult. We're down to just the mid 30s that are hardline cultists, the people that went to the Nazi rally masquerading as a funeral for Charlie Kirk, the people that will not address the thing that really killed Charlie Kirk, which is right-wing extremism and gun violence. These people are completely, in my opinion, unreachable right now. Now, at some point, the big, beautiful bill and a lot of the things that this man has done are going to force them to see this. But this entire presidency is based on smoke and mirrors. And let me just illustrate the point like this. Chinese and Russian bots are all over social media, everywhere. And this was really interesting. We have some sleuths on X that are tracking things. This tweet went out from multiple verified accounts. As a lifelong Democrat, I didn't know what to make of Charlie Kirk. I've since spent several lunch breaks watching his debates, full videos, and have come away with the impression that we got him all wrong. The reaction from those on my side of the aisle has really made me, and the tweet goes on, that they've switched party to become a Republican. These are all bot accounts, and there are hundreds of thousands of them. These same accounts were coordinated with the MAGA administration within an hour or two of Charlie Kirk's assassination, murder. The administration and all of these bot accounts and the right-wing propagandists, I'm talking about Fox News and the podcasters, they all had a very coordinated effort with these bots to call for civil war, saying they did this. And when they say they're talking about the left. And when they say they're talking about the Antifa movement. And I just want to remind everybody that America, generally, our foreign policy is we are, as a country, Antifa. We are an anti-fascist nation. We went to Europe and helped fight fascism in World War II. That is typically the position of the American government. But the people and the adversaries of ours that control these bots on X and other online platforms have the exact same desire that these right-wing podcasters that are paid by Vladimir Putin and that Kanks, who is completely beholden to Vladimir Putin, has, which is to fight the enemy from within and have us withdraw from the national stage, wreck our economy so that these crazy closet demon queens can control the United States of America. You guys, that's just the data of what happens when there's a grouping of MAGA men somewhere and the grinder spike.
Always.
It's like we're going to lose our country for that guy and for all these closet demon queens. Okay, moving along while Pumps catches her breath. You're about to lose it right here. So think about this, you guys. This is the guy. We saw it in 1.0 when he talked about injecting bleach. Mm-hmm. He gave a batshit bonkers press conference yesterday claiming that Tylenol causes autism, okay? And here he is, the great thinker of the United States of America, none other than Kankles McTaco Tits at his press conference. Play the clip.
First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
Pumps.
Okay, number one, I always think we've hit rock bottom as a nation. the propaganda, the lying, the hatefulness, the cruelty. We've hit rock bottom. And then I see this and I think we're nowhere close to rock bottom because every day it just gets worse. And yes, him mispronouncing things is funny, but this is dangerous. This is dangerous because my first instinct was no one is going to believe these stupid dumb fucks. But then I hear this medicine that Dr. Oz owns, the supplement company that's now approved, it goes on a run of sale. And so I'm like, people do believe this. And I just look at this administration and I think not only are we trying to make billionaires richer and poor people have less, now we're in the business of not protecting children's health. And I worry about that because at some point, these elite people do not think poor people and sick people have any value.
Yeah.
And that is where we are heading with this.
I think that that's very well said. And I think what we're going to have to start talking about as we accelerate into their plans is I heard that California, Washington, and Oregon are forming an alliance, and they will have their own health departments that put out records. And I've also read some articles about what's called a soft succession. And this is not where states secede from the union, but they form alliances on the West Coast and on the East Coast. And they're still a part of the union, but don't really participate much with the federal government, withhold federal tax dollars, because most of these states, as we know, are donor states. Where we live in a parasitic state where we receive taxpayer money from Californians, from New Yorkers to fund the abysmal, horrific policies in Oklahoma. And so it's going to be, it's interesting because I don't see these people allowing for midterms. I just don't see it. We started saying that early, and the closer and closer we get to all of this, unless any of these oligarchs stand up or corporations stand up, which I don't see them doing it.
No.
And SCOTUS isn't going to stand up, which brings me to this. And I want to get Pumps' opinion on this. In a 6-3 decision, SCOTUS allows Trump to dismiss the last Democratic member of the Federal Trade Commission, signaling a potential overturn of a 90-year-old ruling protecting independent agencies from executive control. This court, these Ivy League educated judges, have seen the Tylenol video.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen the inject with bleach. They saw January 6th. They see the attacks on the First Amendment, and they still vote to protect him because they want to consolidate power with that guy. That everybody's looking beyond him already.
Mm-hmm.
And right behind Kanks is Lil Smokey. And he is far more competent in his diabolical nature than Kanks is.
And they see the Charlie Kirk. They see the white supremacy. They see how Congress has completely left the building in terms of being an co-equal branch of government. And they are handing our country and our democracy to authoritarianism, full stop. And I don't know if it's because they think that from now on, no administration will ever be in office besides the right-wing radicals, but to overturn 90 years of precedent and take away autonomy of federal agencies is so dangerous. And it is one step closer to authoritarianism. And these men, because all but one are a man in the majority, they want an authoritarian, because if they didn't, we would not be here. They've seen how he undermines the court system. They don't care.
Well, and you said they've seen the white supremacy, and I would argue that they are white supremacists, because if you look at the flag flying of Justice Alito's wife, and you look at, bizarrely, Clarence Thomas's white wife, and Clarence Thomas, of course, is the Black member of the right part of the SCOTUS bench. She's a total white supremacist, had to be deprogrammed from a cult prior Like in her history, in her biography, she was in a cult before she found MAGA. And now she's in a new one. And I agree with you, Pumps, that they are ruling as though a Democrat will never benefit from these rules.
That's right.
Period. And this is incredibly dangerous. And it leads me to a devastating story. And in a normal first world country that valued democracy and human rights and civil liberties, this would be breaking news. This just gets buried. Rolling Stone is reporting the following. What is alarming today is the emerging pattern of shadowy deportations of people who have not had access to a court or any meaningful form of due process, removals that bear the hallmarks of forced disappearance under international law. ICE is deporting people to Africa on nearly untrackable military flights. At least one of the flights dumped people in a prison camp in Ghana, a country where they had no ties. And this is a really devastating reality as an American, that Congress and a lot of the right wingers that claim they're big Christians, family values, care about people. And then the Supreme Court justices don't care about this, because I think that this is how you're defined as a person and as a country. How do you treat the most vulnerable? Innocent until proven guilty. Everybody has their day in court. That is gone. This is authoritarianism. It's not one more step to being an authoritarian regime. We are an authoritarian regime that is disappearing people and dumping them in prison camps in Ghana. Where are the courts? Where is Congress? Where is the media, with the exception of Rolling Stone?
They're nowhere. And the thing is, the lower courts in the federal system have put blocks and injunctions on Trump's behavior and all of these deportations. It's SCOTUS that has allowed it to happen. The lower courts understand the law. They're not letting him do it. They're willing to overturn the law and disappear people in the United States of America without due process. And I'm with you. Why is this not on the front page of every single newspaper all day, every day? And then I go back to, because there's so much fuckery going on.
Well, and because the people who own all of those organizations are themselves cultists who want to consolidate power to this man and beyond, which would be to the failed drag queen, Lil Smokey, who then is tied to Peter Thiel. And when you think about from a MAGA perspective, if you're a MAGA person, that you have Rupert Murdoch, foreign born. And I don't care about this stuff. I'm not like a I have friends that are Americans that were born in a different country, came over here as children, that have a US passport. And to me, they're my fellow Americans. But MAGA doesn't see it the same way I do. You have an Australian, and then a South African, and then a German-born South African that have more power, the three of them, that trifecta of evil, have more power than all of the real Americans per MAGA, rule. I'm a real American with my truck and my gun and my truck nuts and my Trump flag. These foreign-born people have decided that they think American democracy is bad. And they are going to overthrow it. And Musk isn't just stopping here. He has his sights for Europe as well. And at the end of the day, these are incredibly broken, dysfunctional people who have accelerated and been very accomplished in capitalism. And they've been able to do that in a country where we value your success at capitalism more than we value your conviction as an individual to stand up for other people. And so this embrace of unregulated capitalism and valuing money over human beings, decade after decade after decade, has led us to the biggest manifestation of that moral shortcoming all in one person, which is Kanks.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we have for this episode. We'll be back later. Subscribe to our show. Buy our book. The link is below in the show notes, and we'll see you later.